What's up, you sick mother bluffers? Welcome back to the vlog. In this one, I'm playing another cash game session at Deuce's. Excited to share this one with you. As always, if you end up enjoying this video, whether it's the content or the production, it would mean a lot to me if you hit the thumbs up button. I always appreciate new subscribers. In any case, thank you for being here. Let's go. I pick up ace queen suited in the cutoff. I open to 15. I get called by the small blind and big blind. We go three ways to a flop, a 4 queen 3 rainbow. The small blind leads for 15 and the big blind folds. Actions on me, I can go either way with a call or a raise. I know the small blind is a very loose, aggressive player, capable of firing multiple bullets with a very wide range of hands. Flop is pretty dry, and I think I can win more money by calling and letting them continue betting on the turn than raising now. So I call. Heads up to the turn, which comes the 5 of hearts. As expected, they fire another bet, but it's a small one, 20 bucks into a pot of 75. With the turn opening flush and straight draws, I think the best move is to raise for value and protection. I make it 60, and the small blind folds. In this one, we're playing a double board 5-card PLO bomb pot. 4 of us see a flop of 10-4-8 all clubs on top and 7-3-5 2 spades on bottom. Action checks around and the turn comes to 6 of spades on top, ace of spades on bottom. I'm under the gun with queen 10, 9-8-3 with queen 10 of spades, so I turned the second nut flush on bottom and I have 2 pair, 10s and 8s on top. The active player in the small blind bets 10 and the big blind calls. Again, small blind is very active and capable of betting marginal hands. Big blind is a pretty tight and straightforward player, and I would expect them to raise with the nut flush. For that reason, with the second nut flush and 2 pair that can improve to a boat, I decide to raise to 40. It's a pretty thin raise, to be honest. I think a call was probably the optimal play. So I raise, and now the button, who I had totally not factored into this hand, cold calls the 40, the small blind folds, and the big blind makes the call as well. 3 ways to the river, which comes a king on top and a 9 on bottom. The big blind leads for 60. I am fully confident my second nut flush is good, so I make the call. The button then raises to 150, and the big blind pretty much snap calls. What a horrible spot. Right, that's pretty sick because I got the second nuts on bottom. If somebody had the nuts on bottom, it would re-raise, right? 90 more to see if I lose to the nuts. Sorry guys. Turn, I raise the turn and just flat. Yep. 75, 80, 90. Of course, the big blind shows the nut flush on bottom. The button had flopped the nut flush on top. I definitely made things more complicated for myself by raising on the turn, but when both opponents just called, I kind of ruled out one of them having the nuts. I am stuck early in this session. Let's regroup and turn things around. This is a Drawmaha bomb pot. 4 of us see a flop of 8-2-8 2 hearts. I'm on the button with Jack 9 6-5 deuce, so I have a whole lot of nothing. Action checks around though, so I get to try and make a better hand for free. With 3 clubs in my hand, I'm going to draw 2, hoping to maybe make a flush. It's pretty ambitious, but I think that's my best option. I started the hand with nothing, but things take quite the dramatic turn, pun intended, as the dealer flips the 8 of diamonds and I draw king 8 of clubs. I'm sorry, what? Are you kidding me? Did I just draw the flush and quads? Oh my god. Action checks to me and I guess it's time to build up a pot. I bet pot for 20 and only the small blind makes the call. The river is a 6 of hearts, putting a potential flush on the board. Gotta be hard to extract value though with 3 8s out there. Anyway, I don't have much to think about. I bet pot for 60 and the small blind folds. We're back to hold'em and there's a $5 straddle under the gun. The button raises to 15 and I look down at ace king offsuit in the small blind. I 3-bet to 45. The button is the only player to make the call and we go heads up to a flop of 7-10-5 rainbow. I can go either way between a check and a bet. This time I decide to continue for 40 as I would with overpairs, hoping to take the pot down, but the button makes the call. The turn comes the deuce of spades, which is really not an ideal card to continue bluffing on. It's a super dry board, so I think I'm most likely up against a 10 and nobody folds top pair in this game. For that reason I decide to check and the button checks back. The river comes to 3 of hearts. I pretty much give up and check. The button checks back and shows ace king of diamonds. Interesting, wow. We chop, I'll take it. This one is a double board 5-card PLO bomb pot. We go 6 ways to a flop of 8-4-5 rainbow on top, deuce 5-4, 2 hearts on bottom. I'm in the hijack with 10-8, 6-5 deuce. I've got 2 pair and some gutshot straight draws on both boards. The action player in the small blind leads for 25. I'm the only player to make the call. So we go heads up to the turn, which comes the ace of spades on top and the 7 of diamonds on bottom. I now have outs to a baby flush on top, and I turn the nut straight on bottom. The small blind leads again for 80. I repot it for 220, and they snap call all in. Go into the river, which comes a 4 on top and a board pairing 7 on bottom. We go to showdown, and the small blind shows 6-3 for the second nut straight on bottom, and they've got nothing on top. My 2 pair on top is good. I end up scooping this $520 pot. Let's go. Here we go 6 ways to the flop, which comes 4-4-3 rainbow on top and Jack 9-8 rainbow on bottom. I'm in the cutoff with Queen 7 4 deuce deuce. I flop trip 4s, queen kicker on top, and not much on bottom. Action checks to me. With trips here, I feel compelled to bet. I make it 20. Small blind is the only player to make the call. The turn on top is the 10 of hearts. Bottom comes the ace of hearts. Small blind checks. I don't know if I should check or bet. I decide to bet 60, and I can't even tell you if this is for value or a bluff. And the small blind makes the call. The river comes. The 4 of hearts on top and 3 on bottom. I river quads. Wow. Quads for the second time tonight, living the poker dream right now. Small blind checks. I bet pot for 190, and they make the call with a set of aces on bottom. They were not afraid of the obvious straight. We are going to chop. Back to hold'em, in this one the button lips, and I look down at pocket aces in the small blind. I raise to 15, and now the big blind 3 bets to 55. The button gets out of the way, and wow, what a spot. The player is on the tighter side, and while I've seen them throw the occasional 3-bet with Jack 10 suited, I get the sense they're super strong here. We're both pretty deep with over 500 bucks in our stacks, and I am so tempted to just call here. But I don't know if it's monsters under the bed thinking, but what if the flop comes like any combination of a king, queen, or jack, and piles of chips start going in? Will I ever be good with just aces? Will I be able to get away from aces? I don't know. At the end of the day, I prefer taking the more straightforward route, and I 4-bet to 175. The big blind folds, and I take the pot down the easy way. In a Drawmaha bomb pot, 6 of us see a flop of 8-7-7 rainbow, and I look down at ace king king 9-6 in the hijack. I've got an open straight draw on board and a pair kings down. The board is paired though, so a straight is unlikely to be best by the river. Action is going to check around. I draw 2, holding my pair of kings and the ace, and I draw 2 3s. I improve to 2 pair, kings and 3s, and the turn comes the 4 spades. I pick up a king high flush draw on board. It's still paired, but after the action checked around on the flop, I think a straight or flush could be good on the river. Action checks around one more time. We're still 6 ways to the river, which comes the 6 of diamonds. Under the gun is going to take a stab at it by betting 10. My 2 pair is most likely good after action checked around on the turn, so I make the call. Cutoff calls. The button then raises to 30. Under the gun doesn't take too long before calling, and again, I'm confident my 2 pair is good and my opponents are playing the board. I make the call. Cutoff folds, so we go 3 ways to showdown. The button shows 5-9 for a straight, and under the gun shows 7-5 for trip 7s. They thought they rivered a boat. As expected, my 2 pair is good, so I chop with the button, and I pick up some extra chips due to the unfortunate misreading of their hand by under the gun. Back to hold'em, in this one there's a straddle to 5 from under the gun. Middle position re-straddles to 10. I'm in the hijack, and I look down at king jack offsuit. I'm going to open the action to 30, and the middle position re-straddler is the only player to make the call. We go heads up to a flop of king king 7. I flop trip kings. Middle position checks. Multi-way, I'd be inclined to see bet more often. Heads up here, I'm happy to check it back. Maybe induce a bet from my opponent on the turn. The turn is perfect, it's the ace of spades. Middle position checks again. I have to go for some value here, hoping this ace somehow improve them. I bet 30, but they snap fold. Last hand of the vlog, we're doing a double board 5-card PLO bomb pot. 7 of us see a flop of 9 king 4 2 spades on top and 10-7-8 rainbow on bottom. Action checks to me in the hijack, and I bet 25. That's because I've got king 9 6-4 3. I flop top 2 pair on top and the second nut straight on bottom. I get calls from the button, small blind, and big blind. 4 ways to the turn, which comes a 5 on top and a queen on bottom. Action checks to me again. I pick up an open-ender on top to go with my 2 pair. Not much changes on bottom. I don't know if I need to worry about the nut straight since nobody raised on the flop. I decide to bet again, this time for 75 bucks, and the small blind is the only player to make the call. Heads up to the river, which comes a deuce on top and an ace on bottom. I river the nut straight on top. Let's go. Small blind checks, and on these boards they're going to have a lot of sets and or 2 pairs. I'm going to give them a good price to call. I bet 150. They make the call and they show Jack 9 for the flop nut straight on bottom. Looks like I was good the whole way on top, so we're going to chop this one. Thank you so much for watching and hanging around until the end. I really appreciate that. Here's a like and subscribe reminder. You don't need the speech again. I know it's annoying, but hey, this is the YouTube game, so don't hate the player, alright? Good luck at the tables, and I'll catch you in the next one.